Hey hustlers, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free and join my family of hustlers. A few weeks ago I sent a I asked you guys to ask me some questions. I've actually never done a Q&A on my channel before, so you guys asked some questions from Instagram and also on my YouTube community page, and I'll be answering those questions in this video. I do have a bit of a scratchy throat, so if I do clear my throat or cough during the video, I do apologize for that. So let's get straight into it. The first question says, who cooks better, you or hubby? What's your favorite meal to make? So I do the cooking in our household. I do the cooking, hubby does the washing the dishes. I prefer to do the cooking, and he loves my cooking as well. And my favorite meal to make is creamy samp, creamy chicken pasta, yeah, those, and beef curry. I love making a beef curry, but those would be kind of my top three: a creamy samp, creamy chicken pasta, or beef samp. And then this next one is, what's one thing no one told you about marriage? I don't think there's anything I've experienced so far that no one told me, but I would definitely say that it's something that I have learned or emphasized on, or that I'm no longer questioning, that I've been told about, and that is definitely for me to be sure of the things that you've compromised on. And I chatted a bit about this on my Instagram. Be sure to follow me on Instagram to get more like day-to-day updates from me and stuff. And I remember mentioning and saying that things that you compromise on, you should be 100% certain that should things never change today or in the future, you'll be okay with that decision or what you've compromised on. And I feel compromise and sacrifice are two different things. So in this instance, I'm talking about a compromise, and a compromise for me is something that you would prefer, but you'd be okay not having or living without it. Whereas a sacrifice feels like something that you're either sacrificing a core value of yours, or you're sacrificing something that is of importance, and that would definitely, or like a red flag, I feel like if you accept a red flag, that for me would be a sacrifice, because that's something that would negatively affect you and something that you wouldn't on any instance accept, if that makes sense. So for me, definitely whatever you've compromised on, be 100% certain that you would be okay with those things, because marriage magnifies things, and that's what everyone keeps saying, like marriage magnifies a lot of things, and whatever you were dating, it just gets more magnified in marriage. So you just need to make sure, for me that's been my lesson, that whatever you've sacrificed on, and also whatever you compromised on, and also don't punish your partner for things that you've accepted, specifically if it's things in their character, you knew about it and now you're married and it's getting magnified and it annoys you. Don't punish them for that decision that you've made or that specific thing that you've accepted. So that's definitely what I would say about that. Okay, the next one is tips on finding a new job, from CV to interview, and navigating salary negotiations as well. So the first thing I would definitely say about that would be, make sure that your CV is optimized. And what I mean by this is, a lot of companies now use websites or sites that sift through the number of CVs they receive, so there isn't a person anymore who's sitting and reading through every single CV that comes through. There's a system that they use, and a lot of the times the system is going to try find keywords in your CV to make sure that it matches the job description. So that will be the first place. So make sure that you optimize your CV to match the job description of the job post, so that your CV can get picked up by the system that they use. A lot of the times they're looking at about a 75% match. There are websites that you can use to dump your CV and dump the job description in, and it will do kind of like a match for you and spit out how many keywords are missing, what keywords to add in to make it as optimized as possible. And this is not to say lie, it's to say use strategic words that would match that specific job description, and also match the skills that you have, and place them in the way that would make you seen. And then when it comes to interview, I definitely say practice interview questions, go on websites. Google has lots of blogs and websites where you can learn how to answer certain interview questions, specifically around, tell us about yourself, the typical interview questions, and also the questions that have to do or questions about salary, those would definitely come through. Salary expectations, there are a lot of sites that help you kind of give you the best way to answer that question. But definitely I would say, if you're in an interview and you asked about salary expectations, never give out a number. Always open the opportunity for them to say a number. So the best thing would be to ask them, what's the budget for this type of role? Can you give me more details about the job description, the day-to-day expectations for this role, so I can kind of understand better on how to, you know, gauge myself in terms of what I would expect. What's the job market related amounts or budgets or package for this role. Also do your research as well. Just kind of know for this role the type of experience that they're looking at, your experience, your skills, what is the market saying someone is earning around. And then yeah, so just always be open and never throw out a number. So always make it like a negotiation or a conversation, and just help or make them navigate towards saying what the number is that they would accept or are looking for that role. So yeah, but definitely Google will be your best place to find the best answers that you can give in an interview scenario. Okay, and then the next question is about planning a low budget wedding during tough times. So I did start a wedding series during Vlogmas, and I'll definitely be bringing back that series and completing the wedding series. And in the series I'll be talking about how we were able to achieve a budget friendly wedding. Spoiler alert, we really went budget on our wedding. We cut out a lot of costs, we did a lot of things ourselves, and we were able to achieve a wedding that is basically low budget, debt free, and it still looked beautiful, and we had fun, and everything was how we had wanted it to be. So be on the lookout for that video. Subscribe so that you don't miss out. I'll start rolling those videos out as soon as possible. I don't want to say when and not come through with committing, but that content is definitely coming. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. Okay, so the next question is, what are some of the costs you incurred in building the brand that you didn't take into consideration? This is a good question because I'm kind of still in building phase, but for me, obviously, because my brand is about content creation, it's definitely has been the equipment. You know, I invested quite a bit of money in buying a camera and buying software to edit my videos on. And yeah, I think that would be kind of my biggest costs per se. In terms of other things, I haven't really invested in, you know, graphic design work for branding and stuff. Well, my husband is a graphic designer by profession, so I kind of get that assistance from him. But other than that, I haven't really invested a lot. There are still plans in place of things that I would like to do in terms of having a professional website and having kind of a brand guide and all of that. So that's all in the works. But for me, it's definitely investing in equipment. Then the next question is about investing for beginners. I do have quite a few videos on my channel, also my Instagram page, where I talk about investing for beginners. But definitely the first place I'd say is to find a platform, and you can really start investing from as little as 100 Rand. I will link the video up here that I did where I chat about those platforms where you can start investing from as little as 100 Rand. And I really want to emphasize that the barrier to investing has really become or been broken, and it's become much more easier for novice investors to enter into the investing market with places like, you know, Easy Equities, Fedgroup, Frank, Liberty, Stash that I've mentioned and I use. It's so easy. So please do check out that video and the investing playlist I have on my channel. It really goes into more detail about investing for beginners. But the best thing I would say is don't overcomplicate the process for yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a specific process or an app or a platform, maybe find someone or another one that will assist you, and also be willing to learn. Watch videos like this, you know, find other people who are talking about finances, read books, you know, Google stuff, ask questions. Never stop learning, especially if you're a beginner. Okay, then the next question is, what are some of your work-life balance strategies? My gosh, I don't have a work. I don't think there is such a thing as a work-life balance. If I'm being very honest, I don't think there's ever a place where you will just be at a perfect equilibrium for both. I think depending on the seasons of your life, work is going to require more out of you and life is going to require more out of you, and it's going to go out like in and out all the time. One thing I could definitely say is to make sure that you create boundaries and priorities within those two. So for example, if you have a family and your work is demanding, creating boundaries around the amount of time you spend at work so that you can spend with your family, that's going to kind of help you create a balance in a sense. And also just having a routine, I think that's very, very helpful. Having a consistent routine, knowing what you're doing at what time. I know life can get away, you know, really quickly and things can change, but if you have certain routines in place where maybe you have dinner every single night with your family, that's non-negotiable. You take Saturday off or Sunday off, you're not working, that's negotiable. Having those certain things and just creating those boundaries will really kind of help have the best type of balance you can. But I don't think you can ever have a perfect equilibrium balance, if that makes sense. Next question is, do you ever feel overwhelmed by social media? Yes, definitely I do, but not so much social media, because I have created structures in place that have really helped me with my social media health or mental space. And that is on social media I control what I follow, right, who I follow. So I do kind of social media audits regularly, especially for Instagram. So I don't follow a lot of people like I used to before. I really do invest or take time in investing the type of people that I follow. It could be for inspirational purposes, it could be for like collab purposes, it could be people I know personally, people I want to work with, or just anything of the sort. And I always want to go to my feed and feel inspired, motivated, excited, and not feel drained and overwhelmed. And whenever I feel like I'm a bit overwhelmed, I do take a step back, and I think I'm finally at the point where I have the privilege to do so, where I can take a step back and kind of regroup and kind of figure out for myself, why am I overwhelmed? And a lot of the times it would be because of the content that I'm consuming. And if it's the type of content that I'm consuming that's making me feel that way, I really do put measures in place to protect that. And I think that would be a tip that I can give, to just really protect what you consume. I know the algorithm, specifically for platforms like TikTok, you know, the algorithm kind of spits out what you watch, but you can also kind of control that by just not looking at your For You space, but maybe looking at the following space and specifically consuming content from people you follow. So that's kind of a control measure in place. But sometimes social media can get overwhelming, I would not lie. Okay, then the next question is, what are some of the costs that come with planning a wedding that will stick with you after the big day? The costs that come with planning a wedding that will stick with you after the big day. Getting married, marriage life. I mean, I think that's the cost that kind of sticks with you forever. There aren't any costs that have stuck with us after the wedding. I think after the wedding we had paid for everything. There wasn't anything still outstanding. As I said, we wanted a debt-free wedding, so we don't have any debt that we're paying off from the wedding. We just moved on into our lives. I think that's your question. Let me know if that wasn't your question, and I'll definitely answer it down below. The next question is, what is your strategy for getting guest collaborators on your channel? I haven't had a lot of collaborations, and I really would love to collaborate with more YouTubers this year. Comment down below and suggest who I should collaborate with. Definitely on my list would be Nicolette Mashile. I absolutely love her, and I'd love for us to do a collab video together. But I've collaborated with Sniggy and Gogo. She's also in the personal finance space, and that was such a nice fun video. But I haven't really collaborated, so I don't really have a strategy for having guests or people I collaborate with on my channel yet. Okay, then there's another wedding on a budget, specifically traditional. Guys, I got you. I promise that content is gonna come very soon, like very, very soon. But I think the focus is around budget weddings, and I'm so excited to talk about that because we really went budget, and we are currently in the phase of talking and planning.